Does it have to be?
In that case, I call the honourable member Reno Terakatini Tenakwe.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, and I'm very pleased to speak at this final reading of the Arts Council of New Zealand Toi Aotearoa Bill, sir. Sir, I have listened and I've followed the debate on this bill, which we oppose, and I was prepared to give Minister Finlayson the benefit of the doubt, almost prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt that this piece of legislation would live up to the rhetoric that has been coming from the other side, that this bill is about efficiencies, it's about changing the governance structure of the Arts Council so it can make things more streamlined. But, sir, we know that the passage of this bill, just in this House alone, has taken nigh on 3.5 years. 3.5 years. So much for the streamlining and the efficiency and that they want to drive through to the Arts Council when it's taken 3.5 years to get this far. But we know that this priority area for the government, which was announced in their 2008 manifesto, well, this was announced way back then. So it's taken some we're nearly into the 6th year of this actually coming to fruition. So it doesn't live up to the rhetoric, sir, and I'm really disappointed with the Minister's remarks last night, sir, because there were a couple of things that I really took offence to. Yes, we know that there's been a delay in the passage of this legislation. Yes, we know that there is a full-on onslaught that has been ravaged against the Māori committee and against the Māori arts community and the Pacific arts community through the disbandment of their identifiable respective committees, sir. But the Minister really offended me last night, sir, when he said that he is adopting this streamlined structure because he wants to take on the Australian model. Apparently the Australian equivalent has gone through a similar streamlining or creating a flat single governance structure for the arts there. Let's think about that. How dare the Minister take on an Australian model when we all know very well how good the Australians are with their Indigenous affairs? Absolutely appalling, and yet this Minister is looking to Australia as the model that we should be following. How much support do the Australians give to their Indigenous communities and their Indigenous arts? Very little, I would say, and yet this Minister was holding up the Australians as a grand example that we should be following. Absolutely disgraceful, sir. Absolutely disgraceful. But then the Minister went on. He went on and said that under the streamlined, efficient, flat governance structure, we will take care of these the special interests of Māori and Pacific communities, arts communities, by giving them seats at the table. Haven't we heard that before? Sitting at the top table. It's no different to what we hear from the Māori Party, and absolutely that the Māori Party has a seat at the table. And we all know how Māori have benefited from those seats. We all know. But what I really want to know is there is this so-called illusion that by having seats at the table, it will transform the interests of Māori and Pacific arts communities to being a real power player. But then I'm really disappointed, sir, because when they get to the top table, the table is always very, very big. There's a lot of seats around that table, and the Māori seats and the Pacific seats are always they never actually get to a point of actually being equal partners around the table. So unfortunately, the Māori disbanded Wakatoa, who will become 4 committee members, they'll be sitting at this table, but they will only be 4 out of 13. And this government likes to say, but there will be at least 4. So you will have at least 4. Well, that actually is meaningless when you actually don't have a power equivalency in terms of the discussions and the decisions that are actually made. So sitting at the table is really a nonsense, sir. But what I'd like to know is, what shape is this table that they're sitting at? Is it actually a round table where all the voices will have an equal say, and that they will all contribute to, meaningfully contribute to the decisions that have to be made at that table? Well, or I actually don't think it will be. It's not that, sir. It's not going to be a nice round table like that, because we know that the brown faces, the Māori and the Pacific, will always be in the minority. But we also know, sir, that this table is actually one of those big rectangular tables with the big throne chairs at either end, because that's where the power resides. It doesn't actually reside with those interest groups being at the table. And I also do want to comment, sir, because there's a huge glaring omission from the structure of this new governance body, and that is the complete disregard for our ethnic community, sir. Great, Māori have 4 seats. Pacific people, you get 2 seats. Ethnic people, none. And yet, that is the fastest growing demographic group in our country, sir. They may have a huge contribution to make into our arts communities, and they have absolutely no contribution, no recognition at all, let alone the pressure. Can you imagine the pressure that the actual people that are appointed to this body will be under to represent such a broad area for Māori? Well, they don't actually have to be Māori. They can just be any person with a knowledge of Māori arts and culture, which is even, it's more pathetic. But these people have to take into the broadness of the Māori arts. I'm talking of all traditional, modern, all different iwi, all different, the entire breadth of the completeness of toi, Māori, has to be taken into account, and the pressure that will be on those people. But I guess those people will be able to conduct their job because the minister will be appointing them. And we know that the Minister of Māori Affairs will be appointing the Māori representatives, and the new Minister of Pacific Island Affairs, Sam Lotuainga, will be appointing helping make the decision to appoint those respective representatives, sir. But again, it is just lip service, and it actually weakens and demeans the role of Māori and Pacific in the arts in New Zealand, and especially is disrespectful with the complete absence of an ethnic voice on this new committee structure. I also want to take this opportunity, sir, to do as we do in Māori, a poraporoaki, a farewell. Now, you might think, well, what is the purpose of this? But, sir, this act, when it comes into force, will spell the end of some iconic names, some iconic labels, brands that have been bestowed upon the arts bodies, what was the Arts Council of New Zealand. Terms such as Te Waka Toi, sir. Te Waka Toi is going to be put to bed. So the people out there will no longer see Te Waka Toi once this legislation is enacted. So we must say, haere, haere atu rā, ki tua te arai tu Te Waka Toi. Go beyond the veil. Likewise, Creative New Zealand. That, sir, is going to be put to bed. So we'll give haere rā to Creative New Zealand. The Queen Elizabeth II Arts Council, that's also getting tucked away, sir, but I don't think too many people will miss that one. But, sir, those iconic labels for those great arts organisations which flourished under the former Labour government and the greatest arts minister that this country has ever had in the Right Honourable Helen Clark, those names will be no longer. They will only be resurrected if the Arts Council chooses to do so. And it would be very unfortunate if those, especially Te Whakatoi, if iconic poetic terms like that in Te Reo Māori were to never be used again, which is what will take place under this Act, sir. And so I bid those terms, those names, farewell. Farewell. But I do hope they will be resurrected. But in a sense, sir, where is the originality in having to go through this whole complete restructuring process, change all the names, and then bring them back again? It just defies logic, in my opinion, sir, and it just speaks to a complete muck-up, really, from this minister, and maybe that explains the delay. Maybe that explains why it's taken 3.5 years, nearly 5 years, to get this through. The minister has had no problem zipping through plenty of treaty settlements, but unfortunately, sir, this is a really disappointing piece of legislation. And, the disdain which the minister has shown to the arts community has been really disappointing, as evidenced by this, and we definitely oppose this bill. Kia ora tātou.
I call the Honourable Member Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased for my colleagues having really shined the light